Welcome to Amatale's Lab, where lying wives and sneaky girlfriends finally get exposed. From girls' trips that never happen to coworkers who are a little too friendly, we break down every red flag, messy receipt, and suspicious text with humor, shock, and just a little bit of petty. Expect wild stories, dramatic reactions, and satisfying karma as the truth comes crashing through the door. If you love relationship tea, plot twists, and seeing players get played, this channel is your new home. Every single chaotic, jaw-dropping, binge-worthy episode. Hit subscribe and never miss a fresh dose of exposed cheating. Don't forget to check our previous stories. Andre Cole sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the bank app glowing in his hand. The numbers did not lie. The $35,000 he had saved for his barbershop lease were gone. From their joint account, transferred at 2:14 a.m. The same time his wife, Tasha, had posted a clip on her story. Bottle sparklers, neon lights, a hand with her bracelet waving in front of someone's happy birthday. King sign. Now she stood across the room, arms crossed, eyes hard. "I told you, it is my money too. Stop acting dramatic, Andre." His mouth was dry. "You emptied our savings for your ex's birthday party?" he asked, voice low, almost calm. Tasha rolled her eyes like he was a child. "I put on that man for years. I owe him a proper celebration," she said. "You can always save again. You always figure it out." It was the casual cruelty that cut deepest. Not the money, not the ex, not the club. The way she spoke about his years of double shifts like they were nothing but a faucet she could turn on when she wanted more. Andre stared at her, something finally cracking quiet inside him. This was not the first betrayal, just the loudest. Behind her, on the dresser, lay his phone, still open to the message he had seen that afternoon. Tasha's laughing selfie and his best friend Devin's hoodie with the caption, "You know I miss when you used to handle me." He had read it 3 times, stomach dropping, before the bank alert even hit. Now the betrayals layered over each other like bricks. Tasha watched his face, misreading his silence as weakness. "You are not leaving," she said. There had been a time when Tasha's voice was the softest place in his world. Before the secrets, before the lies, before her love turned into something sharp. They had met in Chicago at a friend's rooftop cookout. She showed up in a yellow sundress with a laugh that made strangers look over. Andre had just finished his barber apprenticeship, hands still smelling faintly of clippers and aftershave. She said she liked his quiet, the way he listened more than he talked. That night they stayed on a rooftop long after everyone left, sharing stories under fading string lights. Tasha told him about her childhood on the South Side, about watching her mother chase after men who did not stay. She said she wanted grown love, no games. Andre talked about his dream to open a modern barbershop, clean lines, soft jazz, a place where black men could talk and breathe. She leaned in, eyes bright, and said, "I want to be there when you cut the ribbon." For a long time, he believed her. They started dating within weeks. His friends joked he had been caught, but he just smiled, thinking being caught like that felt like flying. The early years were golden. Tasha brought lunch to his job, sat in the waiting area flipping magazines while he cut hair. She posted "My King" under his photos. They took bus rides downtown, just to walk by storefronts and imagine his future shop. On his birthday, she surprised him with a framed mock-up of Cole Cuts, a sleek black and gold logo she had designed herself. He hung it over his bed and stared at it every night. When he moved from apprentice to full-time barber, she cried and hugged him at the shop, proud in front of everyone. Their apartment was small but warm. Sunday mornings meant gospel music and pancakes. They argued about little things, dishes, laundry, but always circled back to laughter. When he proposed at Navy Pier, Tasha's hand shook so hard he had to slide the ring on twice. She whispered, "I will never do you like my mom got done," into his neck as fireworks exploded over the lake. Andre held her closer, believing that vow more than any legal promise. He started saving harder then, keeping track of every tip, every overtime cut. The barbershop fund became their shared dream. The first crack appeared a year into their marriage. Tasha's job at the marketing firm started hosting team nights that stretched deep into the evening. She came home smelling of perfume and someone else's cologne, laughing off his questions. "We're just networking," she said. She started taking calls in the bathroom, lowering her voice. When her phone buzzed after midnight and she flipped it face down, Andre's stomach dropped. He told himself she deserved a life outside of him. Besides, he trusted her. People had doubted them before. He refused to become another suspicious husband. One night, Andre's car broke down near the lounge where she said she was with the girls. He called Devin for a ride. As they drove past a different bar, Devin suddenly stiffened. Through the window, they saw Tasha pressed up against some tall man in a fitted suit, his hands on her waist, her laugh too familiar. Devin swore under his breath, already reaching for the wheel to turn around. Andre stopped him with a hand on his arm. "Drive," he said quietly. His chest burned, but he told himself there had to be some explanation. Denial was easier. When he confronted her later, Tasha shrugged off the scene. "That is my old friend Troy. You are really insecure tonight," she said, walking into the bathroom. She twisted the story so quickly his head spun, accusing him of not trusting her, of wanting to control her fun. She cried just enough to blur the edges of his anger. Andre, who had never been good at yelling, found himself apologizing for bringing it up. In bed that night, she curled into him like nothing had happened, whispering plans about baby names and future vacations. He let himself believe her again. Slowly, humiliation became a quiet background noise in their marriage. Andre noticed strange patterns. Makeup wiped off in Uber rides, lingerie purchases he never saw, weekends where Tasha claimed she was at her sister's, but posted club bathroom selfies with unfamiliar hands in the background. Whenever he tried to bring it up, she flipped the script. "You are lucky I even chose you," she snapped once. "There are men with real money waiting if you keep acting jealous." The words hit harder than any slap. The girl who once believed in his dream now dangled imaginary replacements over his head. Devin, his best friend since middle school, became Tasha's favorite target for convenience. They had all grown close over the years. He came over for game nights, watched Bulls games on their couch, teased them about being too married. Andre trusted him like a brother. That was why the messages cut so deep the first time he saw them. Devin had left his phone on the table during a barbecue, and a notification popped up. Tasha's contact name, a heart emoji, and the words, "You better not forget how you used to handle me." Andre's vision narrowed to a tunnel. Later, when he checked Tasha's phone while she showered, hands trembling, heart pounding, he found a thread of late-night messages, flirty comments, reminiscing about that little motel on Cicero, and plans to sneak off again. His mind scrambled through the years, relabeling memories. That time Devin insisted Tasha ride with him to the store. The inside jokes they shared. The way she defended him whenever Andre was annoyed about something. It had not been harmless. The betrayal came from both sides. Andre closed the phone gently, feeling something shatter that did not make any sound. When he confronted Devin first, his friend avoided his eyes, then tried to play it off as old stuff. "Bro, it was before y'all were serious," he said. But screenshots told a different story. Timestamps from just 3 months before. Devin's face crumpled, excuses falling apart. "She came on to me," he muttered. "I was drunk." Andre walked away before his rage did something he could not undo. He realized then that shouting would not give him his dignity back. He needed to think, to move carefully. Tasha, meanwhile, assumed his silence meant she had once again escaped consequences. Around that same time, Andre finally had the chance to rent a small storefront for his barbershop. The landlord was willing to hold it while he gathered the deposit. For years, he had been feeding the business savings account, skipping trips, refusing new shoes. Tasha mocked his frugality sometimes, but when he showed her the photos of the space, big windows, clean white walls, she pretended excitement. "This is your moment," she said, hugging him. "Our moment," he had corrected gently. He did not see the flicker in her eyes then, the one that measured his dream against her own desires. The night of her ex's birthday party, Tasha told him it was just a little get-together, that she would be home by midnight. "He went through a lot after me," she said, smoothing lip gloss in the mirror. "I just want to show support." Andre did not like it, but he also hated the thought of being the controlling husband she accused him of. He kissed her forehead and stayed home, writing up a simple business plan, planning out chair placements, imagining the smell of fresh fades and beard oil. He fell asleep on the couch before she stumbled in. The next day, still groggy, he checked the bank app to schedule the transfer for his lease deposit and saw the empty account. For a moment, he thought it was a glitch. He refreshed twice, then opened the transaction history. The transfer note, Zelle, Tasha. His throat tightened. At that same moment, a friend tagged him in a video from the club. Tasha on a couch next to her ex, champagne in hand, surrounded by balloons that spelled out his name. Bottles, sparklers, stacks on the table. She had thrown a full-scale celebration on the bones of Andre's dream. He spent the morning moving through molasses, calling the bank just to confirm what he already knew. The representative's polite voice did not care about the years behind those numbers. Legally, it was a joint account. She had every right to drain it. His landlord, less kind, said he could not hold the space anymore. Someone else had already expressed interest. Andre sat in his parked car for an hour, hands gripping the steering wheel, breathing through the weight pressing on his chest. Rage and grief battled inside him, but underneath both, something sharper began to form. Resolve. By the time Tasha woke up and padded into the kitchen, sunglasses on, he was ready to ask his questions. The argument that followed scorched every last piece of innocence between them. She justified the party, belittled his dream, and then delivered the final blow. If you were more successful already, I would not have to be embarrassed when I step out. I'm tired of struggling with a man who thinks like a barber and not a boss. Andre watched her lips move. Listening to a woman, he realized he did not know anymore. He felt strangely calm. He did not scream. He did not beg. He simply said, "You have made your choice clear," and walked out. Tasha blinked, thrown off by his stillness. She was used to tears, to him folding after her emotional storms. This time, he went straight to a separate bank and opened a new account in his name only. He contacted an attorney, explaining about the drained savings and the infidelity, requesting advice on divorce and financial recourse. The attorney listened carefully, then suggested something that planted the seed of Andre's eventual revenge: document everything. Let her tell on herself. Over the next weeks, Andre became a quiet observer in his own home. He moved into the spare room, telling Tasha he needed space to think. She interpreted it as weakness, believing he was still deciding whether to stay. Meanwhile, he saved every screenshot, every bank statement, every club photo where she gloated over living her best life. He installed a simple camera near the front door, capturing late-night returns with unfamiliar men who never stepped fully inside but lingered in the hallway. He stopped confronting her. He just watched, each new betrayal another piece of evidence. Tasha grew bolder. She bragged to friends on speakerphone about how Andre would never leave, that he was too soft-hearted, and needs me more than I need him. He listened from the next room, marking the dates. When she lied about paying certain bills, he quietly covered them, keeping receipts. He still cut hair, still smiled for clients, but there was a new distance in his eyes. One afternoon, his old landlord called. The storefront deal with the other interested party had collapsed. "If you can come up with half the deposit in a month, I will hold it," he said. That call became Andre's turning point. He picked up extra shifts, did house calls, braided kids' hair on Sundays. He sold a few collectibles, and even his beloved gaming console. He did not tell Tasha about the opportunity. She assumed his long hours were desperation to replace the lost money, and mocked him to her friends. Meanwhile, he attended a free business workshop at a community center, learned about small business grants, and applied for one with his now thick evidence packet attached, as proof of financial hardship caused by spousal fraud. The counselor there nodded, impressed by his documentation. Weeks later, the grant committee approved him. They offered not only the full deposit, but additional startup funds, moved by his persistence and the context he had provided. Andre signed the lease quietly, hanging a new Cole Cuts grooming lounge, "Coming soon" sign in the window. The only person he told was Devin's older sister, Kiana, an accountant who helped him structure his paperwork. Devin himself had been cut off completely. Andre kept going home like nothing had changed, still cooking for himself, still watching Tasha get dressed up to disappear into the night in glitter and perfume. The grand opening came together faster than anyone expected. The community rallied behind him: clients, barbers he had worked with, neighbors who liked the idea of a black-owned grooming lounge. He printed glossy invitations for a launch and appreciation night, addressed to friends and family. He left one on Tasha's pillow. The invitation did not mention that divorce papers would also be served that evening, nor that he had prepared a quiet presentation about integrity and partnership that would reveal, without exaggeration, exactly what she had done with her shared dreams. His revenge was not a scream. It was a spotlight. The night of the event, Tasha arrived in a sequined dress, expecting to bask in reflected praise as the supportive wife of a successful entrepreneur. The shop looked beautiful. Green plants, leather chairs, art on the walls. Music played softly, friends mingled, cameras flashed. Andre, dressed in a sharp navy suit, moved through the room with calm confidence. When the time came, he tapped the mic and thanked everyone for believing in him. Then he took a breath and said, "Tonight is about more than haircuts. It is about what happens when people try to cut your future instead." On the screen behind him, photos appeared, years of him and Tasha building together. Then the club clip of her ex's party, the bank statements showing the drained funds, the messages between her and Devin, the late-night hallway footage. Gasps filled the room. Tasha's face went from confusion to panic to rage. She stepped forward, hissing his name, but he held up a hand. "This is not to embarrass you," he said evenly, though both knew it did. "This is to show that I did not fail. You did not break me. You only redirected me." The attorney handed Tasha the divorce papers there. In front of the witnesses, she always thought she controlled. She sputtered, calling him ungrateful, dramatic, vindictive. But as she looked around, she saw the change in people's eyes. Friends she had manipulated now saw the pattern. Devin, who had shown up hoping to smooth things over, shrank into a corner, unable to meet Andre's gaze. Kiana stood by Andre's side, calm and professional. "You stole from our family," Andre said softly. "You humiliated me, lied to me, and gambled with my future. My revenge is that you no longer have access to it." Tasha left in tears, heels clicking hard against the sidewalk outside the shining glass windows of the shop she once thought she would own with him. In the months that followed, word of her behavior spread quietly through their circles. Men she had entertained pulled away, not wanting to be associated with the drama. Her ex, learning she had used stolen money for his party, blocked her completely. Landlords refused to renew her lease after late payments stacked up. She watched from social media as Andre's barbershop grew, celebrity drop-ins, father-son haircut days, community drives, all without a trace of her presence. Andre's revenge was not loud, but it was complete. He flourished. Cold Cuts became a sanctuary, his name on the window a daily reminder that he had survived being betrayed by his partner and his best friend. Sometimes, late at night, he thought of Tasha sitting alone, scrolling through old photos, realizing she had traded a future for a handful of reckless nights. He felt a flicker of pity, but no desire to save her. The treatment she never expected was indifference backed by success. The man she once called too soft had rebuilt his life without needing her at all. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.